Perfect. Okay. Hi, and welcome to CaminoWays webinar for 2017 guided tours. My name is Caroline, and I'll be taking you through the presentation today. And in support, I have my colleague Aoife. So if you have any questions, you can just chat and message her, and she'll be able to message you back. If anyone's having difficulty hearing me or just during the presentation, if the slides aren't going, just message my colleague Aoife, and we'll be able to handle anything, okay? So I'm just going to put it on to the presentation now. If you hold on for a second. Okay. There seems to be some trouble there with sound, so I'm just going to start from the beginning again. I'm not entirely sure how much you heard. Okay. Okay, so my name is Caroline. Again, so you might have already heard some of this, and I'll be taking you through the webinar today. Now, this is the team here that books and organises your entire trip. We're based in Dublin, Ireland. Now, this picture was taken at the office opening party this year, so we're a very international bunch, and we've someone that speaks every language that's on the Camino. So if you've any trouble, if you've any questions before or while on the trip, we can definitely help sort anything out, okay? So just a summary of what I'll be going over today. What exactly we do, the Camino routes we offer, especially for guided tours, when to go, and when to book your trip, okay? So what exactly do we do? We really organise walking and cycling trips primarily. Now, we don't recommend cycling trips to unexperienced cyclists just because the terrain can be that bit challenging. The guided trips, of course, that we have year-round, and we also organise group and charity walks as well. So if you're part of a walking group, a reading group, any sort of group at all, and you've got a number of people interested, you can contact us because we have special rates for groups, okay? And if you ever find yourself in Ireland, we have a number of Sunday walks and also an annual walking festival, so it can be quite fun. So a lot of you have probably been on our website already. You can see the number of routes that we have that actually finish up in Santiago. They stretch from everywhere in Europe, leading all the way to Santiago. Now, some of them don't always finish in Santiago, but they connect up with other routes as well. So you can actually go onto our website and view this map and all the routes on our website, and it has a lot of information on it. So, you know, after the presentation, if you want to go onto it just to get a bit more information, then definitely do so. Just Of note, the French way there, the yellow route, is the most popular route. So we take really the most bookings for this, and it will have the most people on it. Really well marked. It starts in San Jean and finishes in Santiago. Now, just for popularity, a lot of people kind of ask us, you know, what routes are the most popular? What routes should they do? And there's a number of reasons. People go for sometimes social experiences. A lot of people do it by themselves, and they want to meet people while on the trip. So as you can see, the French way, the yellow route there, is definitely the most popular, with numbers increasing every year for people on it. Second would be the Portuguese way, and then as you can see, there's the Northern way and Original way, and so on. Now, a route that isn't listed there is the Portuguese coastal way. It's a relatively new route, and it's gaining in popularity every year. We're taking more and more bookings. It's a really gorgeous walk, as you can imagine, along the coast. And we actually have a guided tour for one of those routes, and I'll go over that a bit later in the presentation. Okay, so guided tours, what exactly is included? So private accommodation. You're definitely going to have your own room. It's going to be private, en suite. It's going to be clean. It's going to be comfortable. Now, all the accommodation is standard, so you know it's going to be as close to the actual trail that we can get, while also being up to standard. And our team goes over on an annual basis to make sure that all the accommodation is up to standard. We don't want to be booking you into anywhere that is, you know, that isn't going to turn out to be great quality. So we also include breakfast and dinner, and that's part of it. You know, you're going to be having it with the group. Breakfast is, you know, it's quite simple fare, the same with dinner. So just be prepared that meal times can be at different hours, especially the dinner can be quite late. So, you know, snacks and a later lunch is definitely encouraged. Luggage transfers, probably the most important thing. So you're not going to be carrying a heavy bag. You know, the walk is challenging enough without having to carry a lot of gear. So you get to bring one bag with you weighing up to 20 kg, and that's transferred each morning. So you drop it down at reception at 8:30, and it's picked up and brought to your next accommodation while you head off on your walk with the group with a small backpack, just with the basics for the day. Now, the airport transfers, they're included for most of our walks. It's only one or two that they're not, just because there's so many airports that the group can be flying into. Again, you know, picked up from the airport, dropped off at your accommodation, and then dropped back at the airport at specific times, and that will be listed in your itinerary. Now, the walking guide is normally a local of the area, so really has a lot of knowledge about the place. They're there in a support capacity more so if anyone's kind of having a bit of trouble keeping up with the rest of the group, or, you know, maybe just as a bit of a slower walker, the guide will stay back with, you know, the people at the tail end of the group. So don't worry if you're thinking, oh, I won't be able to keep up with the group. You definitely won't have any trouble there. The guide will also be able to help you out with anything, you know, language-wise, give you some interesting facts and information about the area. So if you've anything like that, they can help you out. Okay, now the main information, guided tours for 2017. Now my colleague Aoife is going to send you the link now just for, so you can go in and actually see the exact guided tours we have and their start dates, because there are quite a number of them, and I won't be able to give the start dates for all of the guided tours. Now we have 7 guided tours in total, and you know, they're all really good. Some of them I favor a little more just because I've done them. But so one of the main ones I'll go through is, well, I'll list them out first. So the first one would be the French way, the last section, Sarria to Santiago, and it's the most popular. I'll be going through it in more detail in a bit. Then we have the Portuguese coastal way, the second section again, gaining in popularity, and that's from Bayona to Santiago. Then we've also the Finistère way, then the English way, the French way section 1, so going over the Pyrenees, starting in Saint Jean. Then this is a route that you're probably not as familiar with. It's called the Via Francigena, and this walk goes through Tuscany, so we've got a guided tour for that as well. And last but not least, for those who may be a little nervous of the distances, maybe want the experience of a Camino but don't think they'll be capable of walking, you know, the longer days, You'll be getting a mix of walking and sightseeing. So this is a walking coach tour. And again, I'll be giving you a bit more information on that, okay? So first, Sarria de Santiago. Now, most people know of this walk. If they don't know the names, they definitely, know someone who's walked it. It's the last 100 kilometers in Santiago. You'll be able to get your Compostela certificate when you finish in Santiago from the Pilgrim office. It's a really good walk. I actually only did this walk myself this year. Really stunning. You're going through woodland areas. There's a lot of people on it, so it's really social, really fun. It's really what you make of the experience, and when you're going as part of a group, it's quite nice. Now this route, the distances are going to range between 13 and 23 kilometers per day. So quite manageable, and some of the days are shorter, so you can definitely be, build yourself up for those longer days. And you'll be taking breaks along the way as well, don't forget, with having lunch and everything. So it's 6 walking days and 7 nights. Most of the time it starts on a Saturday, so you'll be arriving, start walking on the next day, and you finish up on a Saturday as well. Breakfast and dinner are included, as mentioned. You'll be having that with the group, and airport transfers are also included to and from Santiago Airport. Now, if you inquire with our team here in the office, we'll be able to send you a detailed itinerary and quote, and it gives more information on all of these things like meals and the airport transfers as well. Now, this tour is available in May, June and September. So again, that link that my colleague sent you for the guided tours, you can view the exact dates that it is available. And just because this route is so popular, I'd recommend booking it as soon as possible. We're already taking bookings for September next year. And a lot of people kind of get disappointed when they check in with us too close to the time. So really social, really well marked, and this route is highly serviced as well. Just there's a lot of places you can stop off to have coffee along the way, so it's quite nice to start off with. Okay, so next guided tour, the Portuguese Coastal Way. As you can see, I think the pictures speak for themselves there. You're going to be on the coast for the first 2 to 3 days. You're going to be turning inland because you're walking towards Santiago then, so it's nice to get a mix off the coast and just the woodland kind of walks as well. Now you'll see the map there. It starts in Porto and finishes up in Santiago, but that's the entire route. The guided tour actually starts midway on that pink line and finishes so in Bayona. It's equally like Sarria de Santiago. It's a week long, so 6 walking days, 7 nights, and the distances ranging between 14 and 25 kilometers. So again, some slightly longer walking days, but it's not too difficult. It's rolling countryside, definitely manageable. Airport transfers are included again to and from Santiago Airport. And if you wanted to do this self-guided, there's some other airport options as well. Okay. Also worth noting, again, some other nice pictures. We had a lot for this route. We have a women's only guided tour available. Now again, that's listed on our website as well, and they booked up really quickly this year. They seem to be quite popular. Now just for that, anyone traveling by themselves actually has the option of sharing with another woman, so they can have a twin room. It's quite nice just to have that experience. But as I said, get in touch with us and we can give you more information on that. Okay, next is the Finisterre Way. This route, actually, you'll see the brown line there that indicates the route. It's the only Camino that actually starts in Santiago. It doesn't finish in Finisterre, not the guided tour anyway. It continues on for 2 days on the coast to Muxia. So it's quite stunning. And again, like the coastal route, you kind of get the mix of the inland and the coast as well. So we only have 1 guided tour for this route next year, and it's on the 23rd of September. So this route actually has its own certificate as well, because most routes that finish up in Santiago that are over 100 kilometers, you qualify for the Compostela. This route, because it finishes up in Muxia, you're able to get a cert in Ferrol. So it's quite interesting. And there's a famous lighthouse as well out by the Finisterre, the Cape Finisterre as well. Anyone interested in history, it's quite interesting just because it's got some fascinating traditions. It's considered to be quite a magical area, known as the Coast of Death. Don't worry, it's just because it was considered the end of the world, just the land meeting the ocean. and it's quite stunning as you walk towards the ocean. So really quite interesting. Okay, continue on. And again, 7 nights and 6 walking days. So you're probably getting the idea now that most of the guided trips, they are quite similar in length, and as well distances between 13 and 25. So they're pretty standard. Okay, so next, English Way. Now this is quite a special tour. It starts in Ferrol and finishes up in Santiago. But what makes this special is the fact that it's over Easter. So anyone who likes, maybe wants to be there for masses, the traditions, there's going to be a lot of Easter celebrations, especially in Ferrol. And you can just see the picture there with to give you an idea. The English Way traditionally was walked by people coming from Ireland and England, just because they'd be coming by boat, and that's how they travel to Santiago. Now again, you're going to be walking over 100 kilometers, and you'll be able to get your start when you get to Santiago. Again, a week long, and just to tell you a bit about the Easter celebrations, you'll be spending 2 nights in Ferrol, just because there's so many things going on. On the second day, after you arrive, you'll be walking to a town called Neda, which is a 15-kilometer walk, and then you'll be transported back to Ferrol. So you'll be there for the evening and be able to see some of the parades. There's a lot of traditional music, bands, and the bakeries have a lot of really nice Easter pastries as well. So there's really great energy and atmosphere. Not to mention, because it's on the coast, there's some really beautiful views as well. Now, if you're worried at all that you're not going to get much sleep because of the Easter celebrations, don't worry. It does quieten down, so it's really quiet at night time. You won't have any trouble there. And just to give you some information as well about the parades, it's quite interesting with the churches. They all have a different saint. There's a number of churches, as you can imagine, in a city the size of Ferrol. So they are all timetabled to carry their own saint from the church around the city and then back to the church again. So you'll definitely see 1 or 2 of these saints being brought around. Okay, and as I said, the start date for this tour is the 13th of April, and the distances can range, again, some lower days, so 11 to 30 kilometers. Don't worry with the longer days. This is quite flat terrain, so you wouldn't have any trouble walking it. Okay. Okay, so the French Way, Saint-Jean to Estella. So that's the very, very start of the French Way. If you're looking at that yellow line there, you're going to be going up over the Pyrenees. This walk I'd consider the most challenging, just because the first day is quite long. You will be going uphill, up over the Pyrenees. So not for the faint of heart, but the scenery and the rewards just from the stunning views are definitely worth it. But you're going to have to definitely do some training before going on it. Now we have this tour, and it's available only on the 23rd of September, and we expect that to book up quite soon as well. So it's 5 walking days and 6 nights, and the distances range between 19 and 26 kilometers. Now I've walked this route myself, and you have to push yourself, but definitely worth it if you think you'd be up for the walk. You'll be flying into Barris. The transfer is included from Barris to Saint-Jean. So really, really nice. The same breakfast, dinner included. So if you're interested, definitely get into contact with our team. Okay, this walk I would consider to be one of my favorite ones. Again, I did this last year, and it was stunning. We even had some rain on some of the days, and it didn't ruin it for us. So you're going to be starting, it's through Tuscany. As I said, it's on the Via Francigena. So this pilgrimage finishes in Rome instead of Santiago, and it stretches all the way from Canterbury in the UK. So just for those who aren't aware of it, so it's a very long walk, but this is just a highlight really of it. So you're going to be walking through vineyards, olive groves, rolling countryside, woodlands. You're going to be getting a bit of everything, and the towns are absolutely stunning. They're up on hills, they're highly fortified, so some really old walls surrounding it, and each day you're going to be walking between 13 and 23 kilometers. So, and I don't think I need to even mention the food and the wine. Really, really gorgeous. This is slightly shorter. You're going to be walking for 5 days and it's 6 nights. And it's available on the 27th of May and the 16th of September. So, you know, you've got a couple of options there. May and September are quite popular months to walk the Camino. Okay, now this is our last tour that we have. As I touched on, the walk and coach tour starts in Leon and finishes in Santiago. You're going to be getting a mix of really sightseeing, a little bit of walking. You're going to have a guide on it with you, you know, a lot the same as the rest of the tours as well. It's 7 nights and 6 walking days. You're going to be visiting cathedrals, castles, museums. You have the guide, you'll have local guides showing you the sights. And for anyone who's maybe a bit worried, maybe you think, oh, I don't know if I'll be able for, you know, the distances, it's between 6 and 10 kilometers walk each day. And if on any day you're like, oh, I just don't think I'm up for it, I don't think I'll be able for the walk today, you can stay on the bus. You know, a lot of people do that, so maybe you'll do 1 or 2 days walks instead. There's some really, you're going to be stopping off in some really beautiful, beautiful towns. On this, you're going to be having breakfast, lunch, and dinner included, okay? So you're going to be having all your meals with the guide and the group. So it's quite comprehensive, and yeah, definitely. Now this tour actually proved really popular this year, and we had to introduce another date. So we expect it to book up quite soon as well. So definitely get in touch with us if you'd like an itinerary quote. Okay, so services, I've already touched a bit on this, but just to give a quick recap. You know, we've got, as I said, our customer services team is second to none. We're there before, during, and after your trip. So if you have any questions, just, you know, even if you're thinking about going on this trip and you want some more information, but maybe you're not going next year, maybe you're going the following year, we'd still be happy to hear from you and answer any questions. We have a 24-hour phone assistance line. So if you're on the trip, I mean, you're going to have the guide there, so they're able to help out with pretty much everything, but you'll also be able to get in touch with us 24 hours each day. So you can give us a call if there's anything that comes up that, you know, that you'll need help with, anything like that. Also, I've mentioned the accommodation. We do check it on an annual basis, so we've chosen it specifically for the location and services and the standard. Luggage transfers, again, you know, you have it each day. It's transferred 20 kg per bag, for each bag. And then the holiday pack as well is quite comprehensive. We include walking notes, maps, your pilgrim passport, very important if you want to get that cert, and then just any general information and some interesting phrases as well that you can use while on your trip. And this is just to give you an idea of the accommodation. As I said, it is standard, so some of these places, they do vary. You're going to really like some of the places. Other places you mightn't like as much, and some places you'll absolutely love. They're all slightly different. They are standard, so they're not going to be luxurious. They are going to be clean, comfortable, and not to mention that really it's a lot of local families that run these places as well. They're really friendly and nice, and it just kind of enhances the whole experience. Okay. And a lot of people are interested in this part, and it's just the sense of achievement you get out of walking the Camino, because you'll be able to get your pilgrim passport stamped as you walk each day. Now, ideally you need to get it stamped at least twice a day, and you won't have any trouble getting this done. You get it stamped in your accommodation each morning or evening, then you can get it stamped in any church, most shops, cafes, anything like that. They'll have a stamp as well that you can stamp your pilgrim passport. And you know, if you want to collect more, that's no problem. There's some really interesting stamps with all different designs as well. So you need to walk over 100 kilometers in order to get the Compostela certificate in Santiago. And almost all of our guided tours are over the 100 kilometers. There are only 2 that you won't be able to get the cert from. Actually, it's a few. The walking coach tour, because you're going to be only doing a little bit of walking, and then you're going to be getting the bus. So it's not going to be a solid 100 kilometers into Santiago. The other walk would be the first section. So from Saint Jean, you need to finish your walk in Santiago to get the cert. So you wouldn't get it for that. And then, of course, the Via Francigena Tuscany walk, because you're not finishing in Santiago. Again, it's a different walk, but if you're interested, you can get a cert for finishing up in Rome. And again, we'd be happy to give you more information on that. Okay, so the weather. This is a question we get asked all the time. What's going to be like? What's the chance of rain? And I think as that saying says, there's no such thing as bad weather, only inappropriate clothing, and it's definitely correct. You can be in Spain during, June, some of the hottest months, you can still get rain. So we encourage you to bring really gear for any type of weather. It's going to be chilly in the morning, regardless if it's a hot day, it's still going to be chilly in the morning. So bring some fleece jackets, definitely rain gear like ponchos. My colleague Aoife is actually going to send you a link shortly now, just with we've got a packing guide, just the suggested items that you can bring with you. Definitely you'll be able to check the weather forecast each morning and the evening before and dress appropriately. And it's good that you have the luggage transfer, because it means you can actually bring a great deal of gear with you and alternate what you're wearing, so it's quite handy. If you have any questions on that, there are more details about the weather on our website under the weather tab for each walk, each route. So you can look at that in more detail if you want. Okay, so what to bring? Again, as I said, my colleague would send you the packing guide and just suggest items, but shoes are probably the most important thing. Good walking boots. You can do them in runners if you want. We recommend walking boots though, but whatever you do the most walking in and you've actually done hiking in as well, make sure they're well worn in. Don't buy anything new before you go over. There's nothing worse you could do. Some really good socks as well. Merino wool are good, but go into any local sports store. They'll be able to recommend, gear to bring with you. Again, rain gear, can't emphasize enough that you bring rain gear, a poncho, anything like that. They're really light. Okay. Now, the best time to go and to book the trip really depends on your preference for weather. I mean, if you're from Australia and you don't mind the heat, then June, July, August, you'll be used to it. If you're trying to avoid the heat, then August I'd definitely recommend avoiding for most places. June, July as well, it can be getting quite hot at that stage. Our most popular months are May and September, but if you're looking at doing Sarria to Santiago in May and September, especially for the guided tours, I'd recommend booking as soon as possible. As I mentioned, just they're so popular. It's a good month to do it as well are April. It can be that bit cooler, a little more chance of rain, but it's still really nice. So definitely, for booking, I'd recommend, as I've mentioned so many times already, booking in advance. The guided tours are booking up really fast, and even if you're looking at doing it self-guided, equally book in advance, because it means we'll be able to get you better accommodation, because the Camino is becoming so popular. And just to encourage you to book in advance, we have a special webinar offer, so a 7% discount off any bookings. So all you have to do is put a deposit on it. It's €180 to secure your trip, and you only need to pay the full amount 2 months prior to your start date. So you can start saving now, okay? And for some of our resources. Now, again, I've given you, an overview of what we offer with our guided tours, but there's so much information out there, and our website has a lot on it. We've got blogs, we've got ebooks. Now we've got a beginner's guide, we've got phrase books, we've got packing guides, we've got everything. So go on to our website, take a good hour to sift through it. And if you're looking for something specific, email us, we'd be happy to send it on to you. And here you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter with regular updates. As I've mentioned already, we have free ebooks that you can download on our website. And we have a regular newsletter as well, and it just updates you with, special offers and just some interesting information as well. And now, just if you have any questions, my colleague's probably been answering some of them as I went through this, and I'd be happy to go over anything. And even afterwards, you can email us at info@CaminoWays.com. Okay, I'm just looking at a question here. Okay, how many people make up a private group? Okay, if you're looking at organizing your own group, so if it was a walking group, anything like that, you'd be looking at 10 plus people. Ideally it's 12 plus, but when you have 12 or plus, you get more special offers, but 10 or more people really. For the guided tours themselves, you're looking, just because it varies on how many bookings, we have a certain number of rooms allocated per guided tour, so there's single rooms and then there's double and twin. So if we have more single people booking based on the number of rooms we have, the number of people in each group can vary, but it normally ranges between 15 and 20 people per guided tour. And let me see, I have another question is here. Let me see, do you get a passport stamped if you're... No, sorry. I've already answered that question during the presentation, never mind.
There's a question about the original way and how long it belongs, like, I'm trying to...
Okay, well, if there's any other questions, especially that it's not a guided tour or anything like that, we can, I'm looking, does the French way include rest days? Well, if you're doing the guided tour, then it doesn't include rest days just because it's a week long. You can add an additional night if you want at the end of your trip, and, we can tailor that, but the guided tours are kind of set. Now, if you're doing the French way, the full route or anything like that, we can add in a rest day. We can tailor around whatever needs you have. In fact, we recommend it just because it's a very long walk. You're doing the full French way. It takes over a month to actually walk. Does anyone have any more questions? Is it too early to start planning for a tour in 2018? No, we have people contacting us about 2018 already. For guided tours, we don't have the dates yet. So if you want, you can contact us. We can send you on a provisional itinerary and quote, just so you can start planning. If it's self-guided, we can still send on a provisional itinerary and quote, but just rates may vary slightly. The price may go up slightly. But definitely it's worth planning ahead, especially if it's a big trip. Okay. Any other questions? Anything? Does the guide accompany you all of the way? Yeah. The guide is going to be there with you for the whole trip. So from the beginning to the end, they're going to be staying in the same accommodation as you as well. So it's really nice. It's kind of it's security knowing that they're there, that if you have any questions, and we get such great feedback about our guides as well. We even had one person book the same guided tour and come back and do it just because they enjoyed themselves so much. And there's going to be different people on the guided tours if you do the same one each year anyway. So it is a different type of experience. Any other questions? Okay, what type of emergency medical services are available along the way? Okay, so like the whole Camino, it'd be impossible to have, like an emergency service following you for the whole route, especially because some of the terrain, there's, vehicles aren't able to pass on. But we do have it set up, and, the service are well aware that sometimes an accident, anything like that can happen. So when you're there with the guide, they'll be able to go and handle anything that comes up. If you're not able to finish a walk, if anything happens, they'll be able to ring the appropriate people and get the assistance that's required. Okay, let's see, what other questions? Let me see, is it possible to help with luggage transfer if I've booked hotels already? I'm doing stage of the northern route in December 2016. Okay, we can only provide luggage transfer as part of an overall accommodation package. Sorry about that, Sherry. But if you come back to us at any future date to book, your accommodation, anything like that, we can definitely organise the luggage transfer. And I hope you enjoy your trip in December, okay? Let me see. Working the flight from Ireland, what's best timing for pickup for the last 100K? If you're part of a guided tour, then the transfer is normally at 4:30, and that's based around flights from Ireland. Just normally we've got most people from Ireland on the guided tours, and Aer Lingus flies to Santiago, you know, and it arrives in at about 4:20. They may change that, but it normally arrives in at 4:20. So the transfers are normally organised around that. There's also public transport if you're looking at self-guided. Okay, let me see. Sorry, I was just trying to flick it.
Sylvia was asking about, can you receive your Compostela certificate if you do the walk-in coach, but I don't think you can. But I'm not.
No, I think I mentioned that as well. Just your walking coach on because you're doing a mix of walking and you're getting a bus. In order to get to Compostela, you need to walk the last 100 kilometers, the entire last 100 kilometers into Santiago, and you'd only be doing little bits of it. Okay. Let me see. Okay, next question. I think we might have covered everything. Does anyone else have anything else? Let me see. Okay, just I think the question here, UNESCO sites. We've got a number of the walking coach tour, you're actually going to be visiting quite a number of sites that are UNESCO. There's just such a number of them. What I'd recommend Leslie, is to email us and just ask, and we'll be able to send you a few links just with more information on that. Just because there are quite a few, the whole Camino, you're going to be passing these. Let me see. What you're doing, okay? Do you recommend more than one pair of shoes? Yes, Rita, I would recommend bringing more than one pair of shoes. You don't know how your feet are going to react, especially with different temperatures. You may be wearing them at home, they may be fine, but if it's anyway warm, your feet may react differently. And it's just good for your feet to have a change as well. So if you want to bring maybe a pair of boots and a pair of runners, or even some people bring sandals as well. So, and with the luggage transfer, you have the room, so bring 2 pairs, it's definitely worth it. Okay, let me see. Perfect, okay. And yeah, Sylvia's looking forward to doing the guided coach walk in June. So that's great to hear, Sylvia. We're looking forward to hearing from you. I think that's all the questions. Does anyone have anything else? Brilliant. Thanks, Richard. Well, look, thanks a million, all of you, for both just thanks, guys. But if you've any questions, just email us. We have I could just continue talking for so long. I like these routes. There's so much about them, but give us a call if you want us to give you a call. But definitely email us. We'd be happy to send you on more information. Okay. Perfect. I think that's it. Hopefully you'll tune in to another one of our webinars in the future, okay? And we look forward to hearing from you.